Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker Lois Coffey. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to be, do, have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
Well, all right, everybody. Happy Friday. It's Coach Lois for another Friday episode with another expert on healthy and wealthy and wise. You guys know the drill by now. I would love for you, if you are tuning in live, go ahead and hashtag live below. Comment city, state, country, where you're tuning in from. We have a global family here live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and of course, if you're on the replay, hashtag replay. And if you are tuning in on iTunes or any of the other platforms, we'd love for you to join us in our Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook group. And if you see value in today's message, and this is a first, I've never had a guest on talking about real estate as a wealth vehicle, but also talking about just the real estate market in general. And there's so much buzz about it now, talking about all of the things in the economy. I'm really excited to have a guest on this topic today. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to introduce today's guest. Vicente Enriquez, aka Vinny, is the team lead of the Enriquez Group and host of the Road to Growth podcast. I hope you guys can check that out. His real estate team is based out of San Diego, right here in sunny San Diego, California, and his team has successfully sold over $200 million of San Diego real estate, which I'm guessing is what, 10 homes? I'm just kidding. just kidding. And on his podcast, he does interview entrepreneurs that have overcome adversity and allows them to tell their story and how they have done it. So I'm so grateful, Vinny, to have you here today. And I know you've had a vast knowledge and experience. I'd love to turn it over to you and let you share a little bit about your journey. You know, whatever you're willing to share, as you've sold over $200 million in San Diego. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was never my intention to get into real estate. It was getting out of college. I did an internship at a commercial real estate company. I was like, I'm never getting into real estate, but life plays those funny games, right? I got into construction for a good amount of time, worked outside of San Diego, worked overseas in Afghanistan, came back to San Diego, and hit the ground running.
That's crazy. It's funny because I had a somewhat similar story. I shared with you, Vinny, before the show that I have not had a real estate related guest in over 200 episodes, which is kind of ironic. But I like many, through the Great Recession, had 3 real estate related businesses. I thought I'd be a millionaire by the time I was 30, and I lost everything because I went all in, put all my eggs in one basket at, you know, the seemingly wrong time. However, I never also planned to get into real estate. So it was actually perfect. I got out and pursued what I'm doing now, which is my true passion and calling. And I do hear buzzes now about how this real estate economy, what's happening for us in the next 6 to 12 months, it parallels and might even be worse than the Great Recession. So I think it's fortunate timing to have you on this show to maybe give us the good and the bad and the ugly about your journey with real estate, and then maybe talk later about your predictions of what's coming.
Yeah. So, I mean, something that I bring up to most people I talk to is the idea that in 2020, there was more individuals that had their real estate license than properties sold in San Diego County.
Wow.
So just because someone has their license doesn't necessarily mean they're actively working their license, right? And as the market's correcting, I mean, you're gonna start hearing more and more mini experts. And the tough thing is, right? I mean, I think for all of us, right? When you're trying to survive, sometimes instead of focusing on your clients or your person's goals, right, you focus on your own because you're trying to survive.
Wow.
And so there's going to be more and more creative financing, more of people guiding the people they're working with into doing things that might not be best for them for the long haul. So I would just say that as things are correcting, just make sure whoever you have on your side is actually guiding you in the direction that you should be going.
Oh my gosh, can I just speak to that for a second?
Please.
Yeah, I'm not coming from a victim mentality at all, but when I got caught up in the boom, right, the big bubble that burst in 2007, 2008, I partnered with people who were not very experienced, who were not seasoned, and I was green when it came to real estate investing.
Yes.
So maybe if you want to talk a little bit more about real estate investing, besides having a solid team that maybe has X amount of years of experience, any other tips that you have for our audience today?
Yeah, I mean, so understanding the market, right? I mean, the market, and I'm not sure. Well, I know a lot of people watching us live, right? We're in August, middle of August, roughly. So in, what was it, May, we were sitting at about 106 list to sold, right? So if property is listed for 100,000, which, not in San Diego County, but 100,000, it's going to sell for 106,000, roughly, right?
Okay.
Then basically in June, things were selling at 101 list to sold, right?
Wow. Okay.
Then last month in July, they were selling at 100% list to sold. Okay. Now, so the reason why I bring this up is if you are an investor buying a property to renovate, rehab, and then put back on the market, and you're basically looking at kind of comparables for your property, and you're kind of going, oh, hey, just a couple months back, properties are selling so much more above asking. Well, okay, my MAO, my maximum allowed opportunity, right, could be bought at a higher price because properties are selling at such a higher price. That might not be the case. So really knowing your numbers, I would say, so for the investor aspect of it, I mean, it's more focused probably in this current climate, unless you're getting a great deal on the buy side, is probably going to be buy and hold.
Do you have a prediction? I know you don't have a crystal ball because there's so much changing in our world right now. When you say buy and hold, how long are they holding to? And I know it depends, you got to buy low, sell high, and you really make most of your money when you buy, and all of those sayings. But what is your thoughts or perspective?
Well, there's never been a time in the history of 10 years where the values didn't go higher than they were before, right? So if you can hold out for at least 10 years, then your value is going to be higher than it is currently, right? If you're trying to figure out what's going to happen in 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, hey, I'm as honest as they come. I thought before COVID happened, that was going to be the catalyst that was going to turn us back into, that 07, 06, 08 time frame right there. That's what I thought. And the total opposite happened. Less inventory because people are afraid to put their house on the market. We basically, rates went drastically low. So higher interest, and basically lower demand. More demand, lower supply, just kind of shot the market up drastically. So I still think there's going to be a correction. We're already seeing kind of a correction. It's just a matter of when we'll see even a bigger correction. So that's my theory of what's going to happen.
Well, I'd love to, because I with my guests, right, we talk about your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. I like to joke you're kind of in dog years. You're an older realtor right now because you've lasted 10 years, right? That's impressive. That's really amazing. Do you have any advice when it comes to getting into real estate, either as a career, because I do have some realtors in the audience, as a career, how to stay with it? Let's maybe talk on that first and then talk about who could be, a real estate investor. So how have you stayed the course so long?
So if you're looking to make this a career, I would say the first thing you'll really want to do is to not judge people's outsides by your insides, right? And what I mean by that is that idea of, oh, you know what? I had a bad day. I couldn't get that deal. I couldn't close that deal. And then you see on social media, where it's, hey, I just closed 5 deals today, which reality is probably not the case of what happened. So just do what you can do and focus on you. I think that's one of the huge takeaways right there, because again, if you're talking about, again, in 2020, where more realtors or more people that have their license as a realtor compared to people properties are sold, right? There's a big chunk, of realtors that aren't doing that much business, right? And even the average realtor is only, doing a couple deals a year, right? So you're going to have those lag times, those low moments, but that's why it's building your system, building your processes, having conversations with people, and remembering that real estate usually happens when life events happen.
Mm. That's amazing. So that would be a great nugget right there, guys. Well, for any industry too. However, in real estate, life events speak more to that. I know what you mean, but speak more to that.
Well, life events like promotion, divorce, got fired from their job, a kid on their way, a wedding coming up, right? Life events are going to usually trigger some sort of real estate need or want. And it's on you, the realtor, the person, to educate that person on what's even possible.
Awesome. Yeah. And staying in touch, staying top of mind. I think that was the joke. I'm sure you've heard of Brian Buffini, right?
Oh, yeah.
I signed up for Buffini coaching back in 2004. I'm really dating myself now. But I did so well with their coaching. And the joke was more people had their real estate license than their driver's license in the state of California. So that's probably going back to what you were saying is, I would also say, and maybe this is too strong, you tell me if I'm being a little too harsh, but I would say don't get your real estate license unless you're really serious about either investing, because I see how you can maybe save the money and all of that kind of stuff, but don't get it just to be a hobby, right? Get it because you really love it and you want to help people. Am I being too harsh?
No, yeah. I agree. I think the barrier of entry for real estate is fairly low, right? And my thought on that is it's either, hey, you know what, I just bought a house with a realtor that wasn't that good. In their head, they didn't think it was that good. Oh, I can do it just like them, right? And so then they get their license, and then they either find out it's not as easy as they thought, or maybe that wasn't the right agent they should have worked with, because there is a difference between one to the next. The thing you have to think about too is if you're looking to do investments, right, and you're looking to be an investor, you have to be aware of it. Once you get your real estate license, there's legal stuff that you have to abide by when you're doing investing. So if you don't have your license, you don't have to do some of those things. So just be aware of it when you have your license, if you're going to be an investor and having your license.
Yeah, because I remember I was a real estate agent in Arizona, and I was in ASREA, Arizona Real Estate Investor Association. And oh my gosh, there were so many people there that had their real estate license because they wanted to be an investor and save on the commission, Vinny, right? And I don't need a realtor. Can you speak to that? Can you speak to how important a realtor is in an investment opportunity?
So I don't know to the extent. I saw something the other day where there was someone getting sued because the homeowner thought that they found out that they could get more money after they sold the property, and they're saying it was the realtor's job, even though the realtor is the investor that basically also bought it, swayed them to take a lower price, and didn't inform them about it, and they had a fiduciary duty to do that. I don't know where it's going to come through, if that's actually going to play out. But in California, there's a lot of stuff that pops up every once in a while, so that might be something. But yeah, as an investor, there's definitely opportunities like wholesaling. Again, buying and hold, buying and flipping. It's about having conversations.
Awesome. Yeah, and interviewing and making sure all of the right reasons. I want to give acknowledgement. We have several people watching. So if you're just tuning in to this Healthy and Wealthy and Wise episode, I have Vicente Enriquez, who has here in San Diego closed over $200 million in real estate. So if you have real estate related questions, now is the time. If you know, my shows usually run around 30-ish minutes. So you can see on the screen, comment below with your questions. And then, of course, if you are enjoying this or you know someone who's thinking about buying, selling, thinking about investing, please hit the share button because you never know who could benefit from this information. So I want to talk a little bit about the what is the best way to get started into real estate investing. Any quick tips and what you've seen in your experience?
I mean, it matters what you're working with. I mean, I've seen where I've had veteran clients that have the VA eligibility, where they'll purchase like a duplex, live in one of the units, and then basically rent the other ones out. And then kind of over time, they're getting cash flow on the back unit to offset their mortgage, and then kind of slowly kind of building that asset up. I mean, manufactured homes or mobile homes are a lower price point. I mean, of course, if you have more funds to play with, I mean, you can go to the more doors you basically purchase. Usually, it's going to be the higher returning your investment. I mean, those are the kind of the big things to kind of really think about. But if you're looking to buy a property and renovate and then kind of resell, I mean, there's always the ability to of like foreclosure properties, and getting getting a hard money lender on your side, offering basically cash offers to people in foreclosure. They just want to get rid of their property. Or it's getting with the right realtor and kind of just talking to them about where do they see undervalued properties. Like there was in this is a couple years back, but there was a pretty big discrepancy in like Claremont, where there was a lot of 3-bedroom 1-baths over there. And if you would just simply get permits and add on another bath, the price would go up pretty drastically. So that was like an opportunity that people took advantage of over time. But just finding the right opportunities where you can take advantage of the market.
Yeah. And do you have any advice? I know you don't want to tell all your secrets, right? But do you see any advantages now, like that Claremont advantage? And knowing that my audience is all over the world, but you never know, right? You work in all of California or mostly Southern Cal?
Yeah, I mean, focus on Southern California. Have access. I mean, have colleagues more into like Central California, but yeah, mostly Southern California. I mean, there's nothing particular. I mean, there's right now in the current climate, what's going on. It's hard to say, hey, buy a property, renovate, and resell in San Diego right now, unless you're getting just crazy margin on it. I mean, I've actually looked out of state for myself just because I've been seeing what opportunities are available in other states. So yeah, I mean, in this market right now, it's probably, I mean, maybe you look at Airbnbs, but even that, like short-term rentals, but understanding basically the laws and how California is really trying to push to do a lottery with that. So I mean, you really have to kind of know the micro markets if you're looking to have a fast a quick investment, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. It's like I was transparent with you, once bit, twice shy. I haven't invested in real estate myself, which is why, you're here. You're an expert on that, because I know it can be a roller coaster ride. And it's actually a perfect transition. I know you talked about the highs and lows, and you've had some of your own personal lows and real estate lows. I'd love for you to share, especially since you talk about these kind of things on your podcast. What have you learned from your real estate lows or your personal lows that's helped you become a better version of yourself?
So yeah, there was definitely a point in time that I was in kind of my lowest point. It was going through, and I've talked about this many a times, where I'm going through a really bad breakup. I was going through a lawsuit. I was just going through a lot of different things, and I really focused to be intentional on mindset. And one of the things that I've really taken away from that is the idea of how I look at failure, right?
Mm,
And the idea of not really looking at failure anymore, but looking at it as basically a hurdle to kind of grow and
mm,
be a better version of myself. But once I was able to take that in, it really felt like a lot of stuff was taken off my shoulders.
Hmm. Awesome. Yeah, because a lot of us make a failure like I did. Like when I lost everything in the real estate crash, I made it about me. I was the failure. And so my mindset, my ego, my subconscious mind just really, really went into that downward spiral. So that's phenomenal advice, especially given everything everyone's been through, I think, since the pandemic started.
Well, we're all going to fail. I mean, and there's so many if you start going into victim mode, right, of saying, well, this is why it happened, or this is why that went through, right? There's always going to be a reason why something went wrong. But instead of looking at basically, oh my gosh, woe is me, it's always going to go wrong, look at, okay, hey, this is exciting times. I messed up, but it gives me the opportunity to be better. It gives me the opportunity for the next time to even be better than this. I mean, so really looking at focusing on your process, your systems, instead of basically that one situation that happened.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Cool. And everything turned out okay for you, right? You
Yeah,
rallied.
yeah. Everything's positive. It's definitely. I got married. And I found someone else and got married, and it was definitely positive. I had a stronger game plan because I learned from the situation that I was in previously.
Awesome. I love it. And I'd love for you to share if there is one or two examples where you had some real estate lows, some experiences. Maybe you lost your shirt on a property or what have you. Anything that you can share?
Yeah. So I've always looked at the idea that my word is everything. And I was helping out this client, and I told them adamantly that they're going to be able to sell their property and not have to pay anything out of pocket. They told me how much they owed on the property, and so I went through the whole process. We found out that that was not actually what they owed on the property. That they actually owed more than that. Yet it was a military woman with a kid, and I remember I said multiple times that they're not going to have to pay anything out of pocket of it. So in that situation, it's never happened again because now I verify everything that they tell me, because if I say I'm going to do something, I want to make sure I do it.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I basically took no fees for that and actually paid money out of pocket to get the deal closed.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
I told them, and I remember telling them directly that they're not going to pay anything out of pocket, even though they told me the wrong information. I still took the blame of it because I didn't verify it myself.
Wow, that says a lot about you. That your integrity and your personal responsibility, because there's a lot of realtors who would never, do that.
I mean, I think, if it, who, I mean, our word should mean something. Yes, I mean, it's on us because we're the expert to make sure that our words still mean something. So yeah, and everything I do, if there's a hiccup and I know it's basically something that I could have prevented, I have to take blame for it. I mean, that's who I am. That's who I feel like I owe it to, whoever I work with.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, any other tips or advice as we head into what, again, we don't have a crystal ball, I know that, but what may or may not be like another great recession when it comes to real estate?
I would say be careful of what you're be careful to focus on the short-term fix instead of basically the long-term security. Someone I forgot where I was watching this, but they brought up the idea of when basically market crashes happen. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but they said their idea of when market crashes happen is when people start buying based off speculation.
Okay.
Right. And I thought that was a very interesting way of looking at it, is basically buying off of speculation. And then the interesting thing, right after I heard this person talking about it, I started getting more lenders reaching out to me about basically adjustables and about, hey, tell your clients they can do an adjustable, an arm, right? Like a 5-year arm.
Yeah.
Mind you, the arms now, you have to put a lot more money down than in the past. I mean, you're putting 20, 30% down. It's not, so it's more secure in that. Yet it still kind of like popped in my head that, hey, the selling point was buy now, get a lower rate now. It's going to adjust in 5 years from now, but you're going to be able to refinance at that time because rates are going to be lower than they are today. And it was basically selling me on this so that I could sell individuals on this. And I was like, well, if they're trying to sell me on this, they're selling individuals on this right now. So I would just say, I'm a worrier when it comes to a lot of stuff, and I like to look big picture. I do think there's going to be a correction happening. So if you're underwater when that time comes about, when your rate has to be adjusted, you're not going to be able to refinance it. So I think just food for thought as kind of going forward.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the manipulation. I hear what you're saying is, in sales, that's where you really guys got to have someone like Vinny in your corner in your back pocket to get the advice, the wisdom, the seasoned expert. This is just me. I know Vinny's not telling me to say this, but don't just work with your Uncle Bob because, you love him and he's cool. And, you really want to make sure you find someone who knows when things like that come up, because there's a lot of people out there, they lick their chops when they know there's going to be a potential correction or recession, whatever it's going to be called. And so I'm grateful that I got to find you. And where can people find you and reach out to you? Can they reach out to you for advice or questions?
Yeah. So you can go to our website. It's www.theenriquezgroup.com. Or you can send me a text on my cell phone number, 858-345-7829. And those are probably the best avenues to reach me. Also, one of the exciting things about what's going on right now is for people that are maybe not looking for investment purchases, but looking to make their real estate dream reality is there. And I know we've been talking about being creative, kind of a negative with adjustables and things like that, but there's also going to be a lot more, I think, people open to allowing a client to come with grants and down payment assistance, offering closing cost credits to a person buying a property. So there's going to be more opportunity to purchase a property, maybe at a little bit higher of a price, yet less money out of pocket.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. Creative solutions abound. Thank you for bringing that up. And make sure, did I type your website correctly? Theenriquezgroup.com. I'll make sure I put that and your cell phone number in the show notes. Don't go anywhere, Vinny. I got one more question for you. But guys, this is, we're wrapping up here an amazing episode, first time discussion with a real estate agent / investor, especially heading into what we don't know for sure might be a recession. It's a good time to really consult with the right people. So if you saw value, please hit the share button. And just a couple of quick announcements. I have, with August and going back to school, I don't have a ton of events, but I do have my next magnetic mindset class is actually going to be on August 31st at 8 a.m. So if you or someone you know and care about is struggling with mindset, Vinny and I talked about this, how important it is to really, especially now, develop your emotional intelligence, develop the skills to come back from whatever life has for you. I really believe that things happen for a reason, happen for you, not to you. And even though I shared my story today about my own real estate crash, and what I've learned from that since then has been such a gift, such a blessing. And I want to help you heal your mind, transform your health, your wealth, and your wisdom by attending my next class. So I'll drop that link in the show notes as well. And something that's kind of fun that you guys are going to hear me talk more about on every show is I have a new patron. There's people on YouTube who talked about the Patreon. I don't have the Patreon, but I do have the patron collaboration sponsorship opportunity. If you want to be a part of that, go to patron.podbean.com/Lois Kofi. You'll see that in the show notes as well. Special opportunities to work with me, special shout outs. You can be guests. There's all sorts of really cool things that I'm adding into that to build community. because we do, I believe, need community now more than ever. So, Vinny, with that, my last question for you, as is all my guests, is when you hear the phrase healthy and wealthy and wise, what does that mean to you?
I would say work-life balance. You can grind yourself in your work, yet if you die young, if you have bad health, what is it really worth? So have that balance in life.
I am so grateful that having been in the real estate industry, I am so happy that you said that, because I also see that can be a struggle in the real estate industry. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much for your wisdom today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Vinny's actually my last guest for the month of August. I'm really excited. September, as you guys know, this is my third September on the show, is Suicide and Mental Health Awareness Month. So we've got some really powerful guests coming in September. So you'll see me and my guests then, and between now and then on some more impromptu monologues. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in, and please join us inside the Facebook community if you haven't already. And until next time, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now. Well, all right. Thank you for attending another amazing Healthy and Wealthy and Wise show. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, download, leave a review or a rating. And also, if you felt like you could benefit from some help, maybe some magnetic mind support, maybe some lead generation and sales strategy, I would love to gift you a free month of my membership, or go to bookacallwithlois.com. That's right, www.bookacallwithlois.com. And if you haven't had a one-time free strategy session with me, that's my gift to you today for attending all the way to the end. Here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom.